fellow Toastmasters guests, it's an honor to be here today to talk about the question we all ask ourselves at one point in our life, and that's, why me? Think about it for a moment. Have you ever asked yourself that question? I remember back at the age of 12, sitting in my bedroom on the edge of my bed in tears, screaming out, God, why did you do this to me at the age of 2? Why did you let me get burned? Why did you let me get disfigured and be different than all my classmates, all my family? Why did you let my dad walk away and leave me in a burn unit? And as I sat there and tears ran down my face, I heard God speak to me. And he said, I allowed this to happen because you have a greater purpose on your life. He said, you had a choice, and you chose to pick up this and do something with it. And he said you can do one of two things. You can live your life as a victim and walk around feeling sorry for yourself. You can live your life wanting to jump off a cliff and just end in your life. Or you can decide to be something great for my purpose, not your own. So it made me realize that things happen for a reason. We all have things in our life that comes about and happens. It's always a good feeling at the time. But when you look back and reflect back, did it make you better? Did it make you learn a lesson? Did it make you change courses of where you need to go? Because see, I realized long ago that airplanes, when they travel on autopilot, the design of that program, because 95% of the time the plane is off course. But that autopilot moves it back and forth, keeps it within a few degrees of its destination. And then the pilot at the very end looks and says, yes, I see LAX. I'm landing on runway number 5. And that's what happens in our life. Most of the time we're off course, and we need things to kind of bump us back in line. You know, as Gandhi said, one of the great philosophers and was responsible for freeing India, was be the change that you want to see in the world. You know, I got into business, started making a lot of money, and it quickly became about me. Look at what I did. Look at what I have. And I became hubris in my life and became very prideful, became very arrogant. Lack of a better term, I became a prick. And as long as I could write a check on Sundays, my job was done. I didn't have to pray. I was just going through the motions. And everything seemed okay. I had a lot of friends in my life because money attracts people into your life. What you believe are friends. Well, how many of you remember throughout the nation Hurricane Katrina hit? Overnight, I went from living in a house on the hill to being financially and mentally and spiritually broke, bankrupt. We had over 10 houses washed away with no flood insurance. Well, that's a problem when you have a mortgage that still wants their money. So we had to give up our house. We had to give up our cars. And I had to look at a 6-month-old that I couldn't afford to put diapers on. I had to move in with my in-laws. I loved my in-laws. I just didn't love them that much. So if you need motivation, guys, move in with your in-laws. You will get motivated to get off your duff. And I started to feel sorry for myself. Oh, look what happened to me. And I started thinking about the loss of a child. When my wife was pregnant with my son, Connor, he was a twin. We have over a lot of twins in my family. My dad had twins. His 2 brothers had twins. So we have a lot of twins. But at 12 weeks, when they go in and tell you the sex of a baby, one baby didn't have a heartbeat. And we had to deal with that. And once again, I asked myself, why me, God? And he spoke to me. He said, so that you can be there for somebody else that goes through that. Things happen for a reason. When I hollered out at God driving down the road, when I didn't want to live anymore after losing everything, because everything I had was tied to my bank account and my possessions. It wasn't about spiritual walk. It wasn't about who I was. And as I'm driving down the road, should I look for a tree, a light pole? Maybe my family would be better off. Just let them collect the insurance money. God said, things happen, remember? I allowed you to prosper, but if you lose sight, I take it away. And he said, that season is over in your life. I have a new purpose on your life. So, anybody ever argued with God? I'm like, no, wait, this is my purpose. He said, no, it's not. You'll see. Within 6 months, people started to come into my life because all my friends had left. What do you mean you don't have money? What do you mean you can't live this lifestyle? They quickly start not returning your calls. They go in a witness protection program because you can't contact them anymore. And then we had to make a choice of moving. My wife was from Mobile County. I was born and raised in Baldwin County. And I uprooted my family and we came back to Baldwin County. And it was on faith, a leap of faith. And I met a guy that said, you need to go to this event. And I went to the event in Florida and got to see this motivation guy named Tony Robbins. Changed my life. From there, I wrote a book about my life experiences, about my victories, about my losses. But more importantly, it was titled Rising from the Ashes. Because everything I had burned to the ground. Emotionally, had burned to the ground. Physically, it had been burned. I had so many storms in my life, from broken relationships to broken financially, to broken mentally. I said, wow, lived a lot of life in just a few 40 short years. But I wrote that book not knowing what it was going to do. And that book took me on a whole new path. The first day it was published, I was in conversation with a guy, didn't know much about the guy. And he pulled out his American Express. He said, I want to buy 500 copies right now for my foundation. He was a multi-millionaire. And all the money I had put out trying to get this book ready, that I sacrificed, money I didn't have, was 10 times within an hour of the book being published. From there, I was able to speak across the nation at some of Tony's events, joined Toastmasters, and started my career of motivational speaking. Since then, I've got to speak in front of crowds of 10,000 people to crowds of one. But I've seen lives changed. Became a coach, football and soccer. And to see kids and to see parents come up and say, you changed my kid's life because you were out there for more than the sport. One, you got their grades up. You held them accountable. Two, they became young men, young women that loved themselves first. It reminds me of a quote Martin Luther King in one of his great speeches that said, I've been to the mountaintop. I've been to the mountaintop. God showed me his plan, and his plan isn't finished. He showed me that my purpose is to be with kids. And that's why I volunteer a lot. That's why I work at the middle school with kids. I love that age because if I can make a difference at that 12 to 14-year-old age, guys, you change their life. You change their direction. I've seen kids that were on such the wrong path that just within a week or two, totally make a 360 turn because they realize somebody cares. Somebody loves me. And I tell them, I said, it's not me. I do love you. But it's Christ's love through me that I can extend to you. Because I know a lot of them don't have a father. And I know they're saying, why me? Why don't I have a dad? I'll be that dad. Long enough to connect them to their real father. So guys, as you think about why me, I tell God every day, why not? Bring it on. When people ask you, well, why did you go through that health crisis? Why did you go through that financial crisis? Why did you go through that love, broken relationship? Say, why not? God had me ready. God's going to do something great and powerful. And say, why not? Bring it on. Thank you.